Hi, I'm Danny Gasparini, and welcome to this segment of Penn Voice. I am joined today by Pastor Dave Shearin, who is a pastor with Street Life Ministries.
Yes.
Pastor Dave, thanks for coming here and telling us about Street Life Ministries. So why don't you just jump in and tell us about some of the work that you do?
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this. And so what we do is we serve the homeless population here up and down the peninsula. We have 3 locations, 4 nights a week, where we meet outside, and it's a nighttime ministry. We start around 7 p.m. And we're a church. We have a church service. We have a hot meal. We do outreach on each location. We have sleeping bags, backpacks, clothes, socks, underwear. And our whole mission is basically just to become friends with the people that live on the street. Mm-hmm. When they come and, like most anybody comes to your house, when you have a hot meal, you tend to kind of relax, you feel a little bit more comfortable, right. And that allows us to then kind of go into outreach mode, and start to really learn what's going on. Why are certain people homeless? Everybody's different.
Right.
It's mental illness, drug addiction, just hit some hard times, age, everything's so much different. So we're just really trying to learn the heartbeat of our folks so we can find ways to help them out.
And then how long have you been with Street Life Ministries, and how did you become a pastor?
Yeah, so I've been a part of the ministry 11, 12 years. I went through Salvation Army years ago. I was an addict. I was addicted to drugs, methamphetamines, living on the street. I was homeless, robbing, stealing, you name it. That's what I was right. doing. I ended up in a situation where I ended up in front of a judge in San Jose, and he gave me the choice to either go to prison or go to a rehab. So I went to rehab, and that's where my whole life completely turned around. Left the program when it was time to leave, and ended up at Menlo Church Presbyterian in Menlo Park. And there I started meeting people who God put around me, and kind of started helping form and shape my whole new life, because it was a whole new life from what I had been living for years. And it was around 2007, 2008. I don't know if you remember when the economy completely fell apart. And I was caught up in that. I lost my job and was laid off. Went to my sponsor in AA crying, said that God forgot about me, didn't love me anymore. And he kind of looked at me, and I thought he was going to give me a big hug and tell me everything was going to be okay. And he just told me, he says, what you need to do is you need to go and serve. And I know about a ministry down the street at the Menlo Park train station that serves the homeless. You need to go there, and you just need to get grateful and just kind of, get your bearings. And I went down to Street Church and never left.
And that changed everything.
Completely.
One of the things that I should make sure our viewers know, that when you do these ministry nights in the various communities that you talk about, you do need volunteers to come and help, and you do need donations and of all of the food and all of the clothing and things you hand out. So we just want to make sure that if anybody's watching, that you do know that we need your service.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Time, treasure, and love, and prayers. So we'll make sure that people know where they can go if they too can serve and give of their time and of some of their treasures to help folks. But so tell me, what are some of the stories that you hear that you've changed that individual's life? Because I imagine today, it's now 2019, we've pushed a lot of people into homelessness that probably never in a million years woke up one day and thought that they would find themselves there. So,
sure.
And the gambit is very complex to, as you said, addiction all the way through hard times. So how do you really dive into that and make a difference?
Yeah. Part of the new generation of homelessness that's kind of coming out right now, we're actually really trying to learn and trying to adapt to it and trying to figure out where it comes to the high rents and jobs that people can't get because of education or criminal backgrounds. So it's really new. So we're still trying to figure this whole new shift of homelessness out.
And I think the reason why I was saying that is because at some point in time, the tent on the street, you're going to overgrow it, unfortunately. And so you're going to need, I think, a step further. And you and I were chatting about it, a place of your own, training programs, those kinds of things. So tell us about what you think for the future?
Yeah, so what we're trying to do right now is we've decided, or we prayed about it, and we as a team came up with an idea that we're looking for a building. We need financial support. We're going to be doing a campaign to start raising money towards having our own building. We're looking at a couple different avenues, but what we want to do there is have a corporate office, a central location. We're trying to find something that's as close to El Camino that we can get, so it's very accessible to the homeless that come up and down the peninsula. As you know, a lot of people who live on the street, they ride the bus, they ride the train, they walk a lot. So El Camino area would be perfect for us. But what we want to do is we want to have classrooms. A lot of our folks need to be retrained to become productive members of society. They've just lost their way. All the way to being able to deal with public. Like if we were to work on, one of our ideas is have a culinary school. We're kind of connected to the San Mateo County Sheriff's Department right now. The new jail has an awesome culinary school. So I've connected with Melissa, who's the director of that, and went and did a viewing of it. Love their program. So we were talking to her about what it looks like with some of their inmates that are in transitional that need to require service hours to train, coming to us and helping us train our homeless to become chefs, culinary school kind of graduates, and looking at janitorial service companies and landscaping, computer classes, science classes, reading classes, looking at like not necessarily a Toastmasters, but something like a Toastmasters to teach our folks how do I integrate myself back into the workplace? Because as you know, dealing with the public isn't the most easiest thing in the world. So if we owned a restaurant and our folks worked in a restaurant, how are they going to deal with this disgruntled customer? Just basic necessities and basic ways to live that you and I take for granted on how you deal with a rude waiter or rude waitress or just somebody who's not really polite. You and I have a mechanism that is in us on how to deal with that. Some of our folks have lost that way, so we want to train them in how to get back into that, and just being hireable. Right.
When you see individuals who come to Street Life Ministries at one of your dinner nights and one of your services, are you providing them also with local resources? So if they are homeless but are looking for shelter, either permanent or temporary or emergency, you've got those resources to point them in the right direction. Or if they are looking for some kind of job training, there is Job Train or some of the other programs that you aren't doing currently, but they have the ability to go access.
Sure. So I'll just tell you a really quick story that falls in line with that. So we had a gentleman who was coming to Street Life Ministries for several years, thought that everything that we talked about was hocus pocus, didn't want to believe in anything that we were talking about, but he felt something in the ministry that he never felt before, and it just felt like he was loved. He was unjudged. We're not a faith-based ministry that you have to believe in what we believe in. Right. We just want you to feel loved. So kept coming to the ministry. A few years later, ended up getting caught up for selling drugs, ended up in McGuire. I was the only one that came to visit him in the jail. None of the guys from the street went and visited him. It changed the way he thought right there because he saw somebody who wanted to be a brother to him. And when he got out of jail, we connected him to a city team in Oakland, where we're partners with City Team and Salvation Army, Victory Outreach, all of them. And went through the program. He graduated from the program. He's now an intern there, and they now enrolled him in a drug and alcohol counseling class. So he's going to become a licensed drug and alcohol counselor. So we're looking like, how do we help him further along? Like when he gets done with his classes, how do we help him take that license further? But his life has completely changed, and it all happened through him coming to the ministry.
Right. So how many people would you say you've served over the 11 years that you've been there? Is there a count that you can even think about? Or do you think that people, once they're part of your ministry, they stay, even when times are better?
Yeah. So we serve an average between 30 to 40,000 meals a year. And that's throughout the whole ministry. And all 4 nights, we have a bingo night, a movie night. We have different little nights that we do, but it's about 40 to 50,000 meals that we serve. We have a lot of folks that come to the ministry. They meet my wife, or they'll meet myself. My wife is the female lead outreach, because we keep it separate. Men work with men and women work with women. We deal with a lot of mental illness, and a lot of the women that we deal with have been sexually abused. Right. So we make sure that we keep our outreach separate, for other reasons. Right. But But we have some folks that come, and within the first time they come, boom, they want to change their life. And then I've got folks who've been coming for the whole time I've been there.
Right.
So you never know when the light bulb's going to go on, but we're just hopeful that it's going to happen.
As long as you're there and the resources are being given to them, you know that they're in a safe place for those moments that you're meeting with them.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Pastor David.
Thank you so much.
We're out of time, but I thank you so much for sharing the story about Street Life Ministries, and I hope that folks that are watching either participate in how they give to your organization, they share in your vision for a new home of your own, and some training ability for your participants, and also to say thanks to you for your great work.
Thank you so much for letting us be here.
And enriching our community for sure. So anyway, thanks again for everything, and we'll see all of you next time on Penn Voice.